To establish the forestry sampling plot, begin by locating the photo point or center point of the sampling plot that should be pre-established. Once at this location, go ahead and take a canopy cover photo in order to get the canopy cover percentage using one of the canopy cover apps. At this plot, you also want to take a waypoint so you can get the latitude and longitude of that center plot, and then you will walk out the first transect.
Find due north. Once centered, another member should walk over with the measuring tape. Have the person at the PVC pole hold the end of the tape. You can have a separate person than the one holding the camera to make this easier. The person holding the tape should walk out 23.5 feet. The person with the camera app should guide them along the due north line. When aligned, place the tape down, making sure it is not hung up on anything.
Next, walk a second measuring tape out to the east or west in a similar fashion. This will establish a subsection of the plot to collect DBH measurements, leaf litter depth, and ground percent cover. Measure the DBH of each tree in this subsection, noting their species and DBH measurement on the datasheet. Randomly toss the quadrat.
Pull out your datasheet and look at the ground cover section. This will be quadrat 1. Use your classification cheat sheet to help you determine these in the field. Bare ground is simply rock, dirt, or sand. Dead organic material, or dead OM, refers to dead leaves, pine straw, or branches. Grass is any herbaceous plant with narrow leaves growing vertically up from the ground. Forbs are flowering plants as well as ferns. Vines have a continuous stem with leaves. These tend to have thorns and also grow in spirals. Woody plants have hard stems and survive through winter. Moss is a non-vascular and will have clump-like spores. Classification categories need to all add up to 100. For example, you may have 20% bare ground, 30% dead organic matter, and 50% grass, and no other categories. Let's practice together. First, we will look for bare ground. See how I am pointing to these sandy, bare areas? What percentage do you think that is? To keep things simple, we will stick to increments of 5. For bare ground, let's go with 15%. Next, we need to estimate percentage of dead organic matter. Again, this could be dead leaves, branches, pine straw. This example has a fair amount of pine straw covering the square, so we're going to go with 40%. Let's stop and add up. 15 plus 40 equals 55. So we now have 45 left to distribute. The rest of the categories are easier to mix up. So take your time and get hands-on with the vegetation. Remember, you have your cheat sheet for reference as well. We are all not educated in botany, so it's okay to be wrong. Just try your best. Beginning with grass, I am pulling at any blade-like plants. Remember, grass will be vertical and thin. Here, we roughly have 10%. Our next category is forb. I immediately noticed some forbs in our quadrat due to a nearby flowering plant. Although the flowers are not inside the quadrat, we can use context clues to decide what plants are in the quadrat. There are a lot of species here, so it is good practice to touch all the stems. For instance, I can tell the largest plant here is woody by grabbing it. So we have woody and forbed in here. Take your time looking underneath plants to check for any other categories such as vines or moss. Here, we only have 35% left to split between the woody and forb. Seeing there is a bit more of the flowering plants, we're going to go with 20% for forb. That leaves 15% for woody. Before marking this, let's check one more time to make sure we did not miss any other classifications. Nope, just one large and one small woody plant left in this corner, which will account for our missing 15%. Another great tip is imagining smushing that plant into that corner to really see that amount. Lastly, always double check that your estimate adds up to 100%.
You have now completed the first subsection and can move on to complete the other three.